Hi, welcome to the Keto Miracles. Today I would like to discuss with you about a question that I know I had and confusion when I started with a ketogenic diet about 8 or 9 months ago, and something that I really had to do a lot of research to come up with a good conclusion. Okay, after much research and after reading here and there and watching many tubes in YouTube and etc., and I have 2 or 3 books, I started making sure that I eat 4 tablespoons of good fat. This is extra from what you eat on your regular diet. Okay, remember that one of the main things that you do when you do the keto diet is that you eat real food, and if possible organic. It is not to eat cardboard stuff, and they don't even recommend frozen. I understand that you may have to eat some frozen food, so try to get the ones with the less additive and the best. But eating fresh, whole foods is what this is all about. Now, the macro of fats that I eat every day are at least 4 tablespoons of the following: grass-fed butter. I eat Kerrygold, but I know they have other butters made in Europe. They have some butters that are here from the United States, and it is called Organic Valley salted butter. That's something else I use. Those are the butters that that is recommended to eat. Butter is very good for you. And I've done a lot of the research, and a lot of the people that have been on the ketogenic diet, not for months, but for years, recommend that you eat quite a bit of butter. And butter helps you to melt the fat, and it's healthy. Okay. The second one is organic coconut oil, non-refined, or virgin. And this is something else. This is the one you can eat. The other one is first press olive oil that you can have also. But remember, when it comes to the olive oil, it is only to eat over the vegetables or in your salad. You do not cook with olive oil. And if you're going to cook with more than medium, on high, you should stick with coconut oil, or you should stick with pig's lard, pork's lard. Okay, now, so we've gone through the butter, we've gone through the coconut oil, and we've gone through the olive oil. You can also eat pig's fat, but of course all these have to be with pigs that are sustainably raised. They have one called, I think it's Fat Farm, and they have their own website, and they sell it on Amazon. It's about $18 or so the container. But what is good about this is that the lard of the pigs can be cooked, and whatever you have left, you can save it in a glass jar, and it's perfectly fine. Something that you should never do with oils. When it comes to olive oil, you should never cook with olive oil. Olive oil is for salads or putting over the vegetables, but not for cooking. And butter shouldn't be cooked either. I sometimes use it if I'm doing like a couple of eggs on low heat and real fast. Okay, you can also eat clarified butter. There's something else called tallow, which is made from beef. And there's another one. If it comes to mind, I will bring it up to you. Okay? Now, so how do I eat my 4 tablespoons of fat on an everyday basis? I always have 2 tablespoons of butter in the morning. How do I do this? One, and I recommend that if you like coffee, you try it with coffee. Go ahead and look for the videos on how to do bulletproof coffee. It's made with coffee, MCT oil, and butter, and it tastes wonderful. My son did not want to drink this. He said, "Oh, that sounds terrible." But after he tried it for a few days, he had to admit that it was great, and he was just being picky. So he now likes it, and he takes it every day. So look for bulletproof coffee. I don't drink coffee because I don't like coffee. So what do I do with mine? I boil my water. I put some type of tea in my cup, whether it's green tea or chamomile or some other tea that I may want to try. And I put my 2 tablespoons of butter, and I mix it really well. I always like cream in my tea. I can have lemon, but I like tea. So, I like, cream. So you can use full fat cream. You can use anything that you like, coconut milk. You can use almond milk. So I make this, I stir really well. Those who know better recommend that you put it in a blender and blend it really nice so that you don't taste the butter. I don't mind. So if I have time, I'll blend it. If I don't have time, I drink it without blended. Alright, so the other way I drink it is sometimes I don't feel like having tea. So I take broth, whether it's chicken or beef. I do the same thing. I make it hot, put my 2 butters in it, my 2 tablespoons of butter, and depends how I feel. Sometimes I like to add lemon, sometimes I add a little bit of vinegar, sometimes I add a little bit of garlic flavor. So it's like if you're drinking a soup. So you can do it with organic chicken broth or beef broth. Also, something that is really well, but I am not going to really expand on it, but I will do it in another video, is bone broth with the butter. But I will do that in another video. Okay, the other way that I take my 2 tablespoons is sometimes I don't do them at breakfast, but then I'm doing at lunch. If I'm not having breakfast right away, then I do it at lunch, and I do a soup, which I will expand on later, made out of broccoli, and sometimes I put watercress, and I put a little bit of cabbage, and I cook it, and then I blend it with a little bit of broth, and I put my 2 tablespoons of butter, and it tastes delicious. But that's the way I do my butter. The other thing that I do is sometimes I just go ahead and take 1 tablespoon of, I love coconut, so sometimes, and I know many people do this, I take 1 tablespoon of coconut oil and I just eat it. The olive oil, I can eat it with my salad. And if I'm planning to eat mayonnaise, which I will talk about the mayonnaise in a minute, I just don't have the olive oil, and I use the mayonnaise as 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise if I'm eating tuna or something that goes well with that. So now the question is, other than the 4 tablespoons, I don't have to do anything else? No. This is a 70 to 75% high good fat diet. So you eat other stuff, plus your macros. You eat bacon, you eat eggs. When you cook your food, if you want to cook it with olive oil, with coconut oil, is wonderful. You eat cuts of pork and beef and stuff. If you're going to eat chicken, you try to eat the thighs or the legs because they're more fatty. You want to eat fish that are fatty, like I eat tuna. I eat quite a bit of sardines. I eat, I can't remember right now, so I'll get to it in a minute. I eat fish, and I have this salmon. That's what I meant to say. So I eat all of those, and I eat pork and I eat beef now. Okay, so you know that the 4 macros is just not the end of it. That's just the everyday thing to make sure that you have a 70 to 75% high-fat diet. Okay, now, what else is important? When you eat the butter, remember that it has to be grass-fed butter. When you eat the beef, it should be grass-fed and finished beef. Listen, the grass-fed beef is expensive, very expensive. So if you're going to spend the money, be sure you're getting your money's worth. I found through research that sometimes people that advertise grass-fed beef, they do. But in the last month, they add other grains and all to make the cows fatter. That's not what you want to pay for. You want to pay grass-fed and finished beef. Okay? Now, the chicken obviously should be organic. The eggs should be organic, and I prefer cage-free and pasture-raised, because what they're doing to the poor chickens in this way, in this world, it is really a shame. And I have done some research that says even some of the allergies that we're suffering more today is because of the inhumane way that we treat our animals, and especially the chicken, because they're small and they're just stuck in some cages, and it's terrible. But okay, enough said about that. Now, another thing that you can use, talking about the almond milk, it is important that when you buy the almond milk, you look for almond milk that says free of carcinogens. I don't know what it is, but I know that it's very important not to have this. It's spelled Carrageenan, carrageenan. And if you buy a good bottle of milk, of almond milk, it will say free of. And I find one in the health food store where I go, and it is important. I know they sell it also at I don't remember the now, but I'll tell you in a minute. Trader Joe's. It's almond milk free of carrageenan. Okay. Now, what else? Let's see. Mayonnaise. I buy this mayonnaise that is called Sir Kensington. It's not really expensive. I think it's cost me about $6 or so. But I have looked at all the mayonnaises in every store that I go to, whether it's health food store, whether it's Trader Joe's, everywhere I've looked, all the mayonnaises, even though they say organic, they're done with soybean oil, which we know is a no-no. So I found this Sir Kensington, and it's made with sunflower oil. And it's made with organic eggs, and I think it's excellent, and it tastes really good. So that's one thing. Either or, make your own mayonnaise. If you look online, there's even recipes that tell you how to do small batches of homemade mayonnaise if you live by yourself, or if you eat it not too often. So we had that about mayonnaise. Okay, let me see what else I want to talk about. It is important for us to understand that a lot of the immune system, part of the immune system is very much related to the gut, and how is your colon, the bacteria, etc., etc. One of the things that those who know recommend is that we eat fermented vegetables. Okay, I eat the organic sauerkraut. I happen to like sauerkraut, so for me it's easy. If you don't like sauerkraut, well then maybe you can eat just 1 or 2 tablespoons a day with your salad and green and berry, or you can look at Dr. Mercola's site, look for the fermented vegetables recipe, and you will see how to do this. Because if you can buy it, but you're going to have quite a bit of money for that, because I think that, if you buy those vegetables retail, they're hard to do because you have to do them by hand, etc. And the quality of the vegetables also has to be really good. I think they're about 17 or 18 pounds a jar, $18. So I can't afford that. So I mostly take my sauerkraut, and I take, and I eat a little bit every day. Like I say, but I happen to like sauerkraut, so there's no problem in there. Also, I take my probiotics pill every day, and I'm doing fine with that. And now I'm taking, like I say, the Bragg's vinegar drink in the morning. And I said already in my other video, I only take 4 ounces mixed with water or with something else. But I think that that's very important for you to know, because remember that everything that we're learning is things that people in the past, maybe they didn't know about, but they did it. They did it correctly without knowing what they were doing, perhaps, because it was another type, another life, another way of doing things. But right now, in this world that we live in, we have to be very careful of what we eat, and we have to really do the research. Now, we are very blessed in the fact that we do have the internet, and that you sort of can look up most everything that you need to look up. But like I said, you have to look at your research, and just don't get conned by things that maybe they're charging you the big money, but it's not what you want, really. So you have to be careful. Now, I want to just discuss for a minute the thing of grass-fed, organic, etc. I think that if you can afford beef, chicken, all of those things, but especially the beef that is very expensive, that is grass-fed and finished, that would be wonderful. If you can't afford it, what do? Well, you do the best you can. I think that there are certain things, though, that if in order to do the diet, you have to do this. You must eat grass-fed butter. You must have organic, unrefined coconut oil, virgin. You must have olive oil. You can have the fat from the pigs. They're not cheap, but being sick and having to buy medicines is not cheap either, and you feel terrible. Now, as far as the beef is concerned, I have read a lot of stuff about the regular beef. They put hormones, they do all kinds of things, and they're really no good. So I'm not saying that I don't ever eat it. If I can buy, sometimes I'm retired, if I can buy the grass-fed beef, I do. Remember that in this diet you eat less protein, so instead of having an 8-ounce steak, maybe I'll have a 4-ounce steak. So that's how I try to save. I'll buy a pound of grass-fed beef hamburger. It's about $8. So since I divide it in 4, it's about $2 a serving. So it's not bad. So all you have to do is try to see how you compensate. But as far as the oils and as far as the eggs, I think you have to make a sacrifice and buy the right kind. Like a dozen eggs is of the grass-fed, of the non-cage animals, organic, are about $5. So you have 12 eggs. So it's cheap if you're going to think about it, and it's healthy. I also have, some people ask me about dessert, and I do like to have dessert. But what do? I make the 1-minute cake in the microwave. There's a recipe in I think it's Cooking with Christy and other ladies too, that show you how to do a quick 1-minute cake, and it's low carb. I also eat 2 ounces of cream cheese, and I put coconut flakes on top of it, and sometimes I put a little bit of almond milk and things like that on top of it, and that makes me, that tastes sweet and it's like eating dessert. The other thing that I really like and enjoy is almond butter. So I take 2 tablespoons of almond butter or 1 and some coconut flakes, and I eat it and I love it. Almond butter is really great. But I make almond butter an extra. It's not part of my 4 tablespoons. You can certainly do it, but since I already have my routine of eating my coconut and my butter, I just take the almond butter as a dessert. Okay, let me check my list and see if I see something here that I haven't said. I think, like I said, it's important to know that 80% of our immune system is dependent on how well our gut is and what about the bacteria in there. And I recommend that you listen to Dr. Mark Hyman, or that you listen to Dr. Marcola, because they have very good ideas as to how, to manage having a clean gut. Okay, I think that's all I have to say for today. I want to thank you very much for listening to me. You know that my passion is to bring this keto diet miracles to everyone that needs it. And who needs it? Everyone needs it. If you either want to lose weight and inches, if you're diabetic, you want to reverse your diabetes. If you have high blood pressure, you want to reduce your high blood pressure. You want to feel better. You want to have more energy. It's important, though, that you know, and that you, in case it's not for you, that if you need to recommend it to someone that you know needs it, explain that this is not only to lose weight. It is not only to lose inches. It is not only to reverse diabetes. You eat fat and you eat right, real food, and you follow this regime for health. And this is important. So I think that's the reason I feel that this diet is for everybody, because it has so many good benefits. Now, if you're not diabetic, you may not have to stay for under 20 grams of carbs like I do. You may be able to go to 40 or 50. There's plenty of books and plenty of research that tells you that. You can eat more of certain things, but you should not eat other things. So this is for you to research and find out. Remember, I am a retired nurse. I am not a doctor. What I'm talking about here is it's my personal opinion, and it is my personal results following the ketogenic diet. It is never intended to be medical advice. But remember, especially if you're diabetic or if you're taking a lot of medications, before you start the diet, you need to speak to the doctor, because the results on this diet are fast. So you want to know what you're doing when it comes to your medicines, especially, like I say, if you have diabetes. I had diabetes for over 22 years, but I don't have diabetes now. I've stopped my insulin, and I'm doing really well. I don't have hypertension, and I feel fine. I want to really, really thank you for listening. I want to encourage you to pass this advice or this idea to anyone that you think can do it. Just tell them to look at the videos, and then tell them to do their own research and see how they feel. Even if you try it for 3 or 4 weeks or for 6 weeks, see how you feel. No one can tell you. You need to do it for yourself. But I can tell you my personal experience is that it really works, and it really makes a difference in your life. So that's very important. I also want to talk about, but not today, I will make another video about intermittent fasting, which I really think is wonderful, and which I really think you should know about, and that it helped me tremendously, especially when I wanted to get out of using insulin injections. Okay, that's enough for today. Don't forget to like if you like. Don't forget to subscribe if you like what you're doing, and help me pass along the idea that we need to eat better if we want to be healthy, and eating fat is the way. Thank you. See you around. Bye-bye.